Hey there everybody, this is Caitlin here and welcome to our Friday video of the week. March has been such a crazy month already, hasn't it? Like, we are nearly nearing the end of March actually, and there's still like a couple more videos that I want to get out for this month. I mean, literally, Mad March was when everything is happening for majority of this year actually. This has probably been my busiest month of the year so far, and it's only been the third month, so I feel like 2017 is going to be a good year for me to be doing things, in particular doing like all the kinds of things like Force World GP and going to conventions and getting out there and doing more things and providing more content to the channel for you guys. So today in particular, I wanted to do another film review because I really enjoyed doing, enjoyed doing my rant, so to speak, on The Bye Bye Man. That was a movie I hated. I wanted to discuss a movie that I don't know whether I actually loved or whether I'm just, liking, not on the verge of loving. The film in question, obviously, if you've been living under a rock, is Beauty and the Beast. Now, normally, I don't really care, normally I would warn you, say, I'm discussing spoilers. At the same time, this is a remake, or like a live-action remake, retelling, if you will, of a Disney classic. So obviously, the central plot is still the same as the original Beauty and the Beast, the animated version. However, they do add a couple of new things or whatever into the film. It doesn't really ruin the story, so I'm going to warn you now, I'm going to spoil some things that they added into the film. So if you are still wanting to go to the film, and you do not want to be spoiled for the things that they added, don't watch this video now, wait till you've gone and seen it, and then come back and watch it. I know that, I think Beauty and the Beast came out at the start of the week, I believe, so if you've not seen it, that's fine. Don't watch this video, watch it, wait, like save it for later. You've got it in your history, or maybe you've bookmarked it or something like that. So, spoilery stuff abound, and you have been warned. So after this, I'm going to be discussing spoiler stuff. Everyone else still with me? Very good, very good. So, things that I liked about this film. I liked that they explored a little bit more about Belle and the Beast themselves. I know that in the original animated story, obviously, they've got limits or whatever to their screen time and the animation and blah blah blah. So we never really got a bit more in depth with the story of like where Belle came from and where the Beast came from. We know like the general story of how he turned into the Beast and whatnot, but we never really find out why like he was initially that selfish, horrible like man in the first place. And at the same time, we don't get like too much detail on why he's like that, but we get like the tiniest little hints and whatnot. So it's explained how his mother died when he was very young, and like she was the only person that he really looked up to. So then when his mother died and he was left with his father, he's like the rich prince or whatever and all this stuff, his father basically twisted him into a horrid person, which from my understanding of it is his dad wasn't a nice person to begin with, and he just passed that on to his son without the mother to stop the influence. So he only like has value for anything that's beautiful. He doesn't care about anything else. He's very horrible to the poor and everything like that. If there's no gain from him or whatever, he doesn't care about it. So obviously that gives a lot of implication as to what his father was really like, or maybe what his father had become after the death of his wife. We don't really know too much about that. But the other thing that I also wanted to mention was the little backstory into Belle. Now, obviously, there's not really much given as to why Belle just lives with her mother in the original film or whatever. It's just, you know, naturally accepted that this beautiful girl has an eccentric father, there's no mother, no explanation. It doesn't really pop up. But, like, in this story, it kind of pops up in a way where it's like, she never knew her mother. She doesn't know why she doesn't know her mother. She just knows her mother's not around, and her father doesn't really want to talk about it. He's like she's like, oh, tell me another story about her, and, you know, he'd say, oh, she was brave. But not really elaborating it into too much. He'd be like, she was brave, or she was fearless, blah, blah, blah. But not really discussing, like, why he left her, or where is she, like, or what happened to her, and blah, blah, blah. So they had, like, a lovely little moment where, like, the Beast was like, I will, like, think of the one place you want to be, and I will show it to you. We'll see it together. And, like, she goes to Paris, where she's born. It's obviously a French film. She's born in Paris, to the place she was born, because obviously she's not there anymore, so she doesn't know why they're not there. And, you know, they find out that her mother was dying of the plague, and they had to flee Paris, essentially, so that Belle could live. And her mother was just like, take her away so she doesn't get to, like, take it. So it was, like, a really hard decision for her father to make, to leave the woman he loves to protect the only daughter he has, which I felt was really heartwarming, and it made me, like, connect more to, like, the father-daughter bond, because you don't really see that an awful lot in films, well, recently, if you've seen Logan, there's kind of that sort of, but not one spoiler that as a movie as well. But in terms of uh like, you know, in terms of like a connection between a father and a daughter, I feel like in cinema they really don't elaborate too much on it. Like you think of like Disney like heroes or whatever, and not most of the time it's nothing really to do with like their parents. Well, mainly the main thing to do with their parents is a disagreement of some sort. Like Ariel wants to go up in the land, and everyone's like, no, the land is bad. Or Simba wants to go off into the great abyss or the great like the elephant graveyard, and his dad's like, no, you need to be a great king. Like I like seeing this positive relationship, and it's not just the parent telling the child off and all this stuff. I love that beautiful chemistry that they had together as like a parent and child. It was beautiful. I adored it. I also adored like the sets. The sets of the film were amazing. I loved like the updates they did to the original songs. They added a couple more, and I can't remember whether if they're from the Broadway musical version of Beauty and the Beast, or whether they were original scores created for this film. I believe someone mentioned to me that they were. Some of them I think were taken from the Broadway musical, I believe. I'll need to double check that, but I liked the new songs. They felt like they had their place in the like. They didn't feel like they were kind of shoved in. Like there's a new song where it's like the Beast singing or whatever, and he has like the guy who plays him. I can't remember his name off the top of my head, and I feel so bad about it. But he's got a great singing voice. I am pretty sure it is him, the actor, singing. I might be wrong, but like whoever it is, they have a great singing voice, so they're brilliant. And then there's like another song where like they're singing about like wanting to see the sun again, which I think it was like their way of kind of not including the song Human from the DVD release of Beauty and the Beast, because I didn't like that song Human because it made all the like the antique servants and whatnot seem a bit shallow, because they're just like, oh, we only really are being nice to Belle so that she can be breaking the curse. But this one kind of like was a lot nicer, in that they were more singing about like the hope they have in this room or whatever, like the hope they're sharing, like, you know, even though they're in this dire place, they still have hope to see the sun again and all this stuff. So that was lovely. In terms of things that I didn't like, I guess really the only thing I wasn't too keen on was maybe some of the costume choices, maybe. And my main gripe is with Belle's dress. Like, they have this whole sequence of it ever where it's like the golden like branches are coming down from the ceiling and they're adorning her dress, and it's making the little roses and everything that you're so iconic to the Beauty and the Beast story, and Belle's ball gown and everything like that. But when you see the full-on dress, it just pales in comparison. Like, I know that, like, transforming, like, actual animated clothing into real-life clothing can be difficult, because obviously you need to think of how, stylistically, that would actually be worn on a real person as opposed to, like, an animated character and whatnot. So, of course, it couldn't match perfectly. And just, when you look at that dress, it's just, like, it's so uninspiring, and I don't know if it's maybe the shade of yellow, maybe it's too bright a yellow, and the weird ruffles going down it, but it looks nothing like the original dress, which really disappointed me, considering the budget this film had, or whatever. I mean, I've seen, like, cosplays of Belle looking better than this dress that they put on poor Emma Watson. I mean, I wasn't impressed with it. I liked some of the other clothes, like the clothes they had for the Beast was great, Gaston looked great, and his bright red coat and everything like that, and some of the servants looked okay. I kind of was a bit iffy about Cogsworth, and like when they turn into humans, whatever. A wee bit iffy with them or whatever, but you know, I mean, I could live, because they're only really seen as humans for like a very brief period of the film. They're mostly the ornaments and whatnot. So that was like maybe one of my gripes. But then also, not something I didn't like, but something that just seemed to like hang over my head for the entire time was, obviously they spoiled earlier on in their advertising and on several like media posts and whatnot that the film was going to feature a gay character. Now, I don't want to open up this whole debate and whatnot about the representation of LGBT people in like the film industry and media and all this stuff and blah blah blah. I like, it's an important thing to represent. I understand that. I don't get why people were up in arms about this being such a horrible thing. Like, I saw posts, like, literally devout posts of people who were, like, really, like, hardcore, like, Christians. And I'm not saying Christians are bad or anything like that, because now I'm going to dig a hole for myself. But the way that they were saying it, they were just like, oh, homosexuality is the work of the devil. I will not take my children to see this film, and blah, blah, blah. And, you know, I could understand that if, like, the character that they were representing as a gay character was, like, full on, like, you know, like, shouting from the rooftops that he's having, like, sex or something, adult, something that would, maybe a child shouldn't say. But at the very most, there's maybe two jokes, essentially, about fancying the same sex or whatever. It's not blatantly in your, like, it's both in your face and not in your face. Like, it's, the tones are implied, but it's not like the character outright comes out and just like, I'm gay, and like sings a song about it or whatever. I don't get why that, like this film was meant to be something beautiful, a classic retelling of a great, like, Disney fairy tale. I know they kind of did the Disney fairy tale retelling of Cinderella, but I was never the biggest fan of Cinderella as a story to begin with. I found it quite boring. As one of the early Disney, like, princess films, it is very dull. It is so very dull. Beauty and the Beast, on the other hand, there's like action, there's like violence, there's like the brilliant songs and everything like that, and I was glad to see this film. But in the back of my head, I was just thinking, when are they going to do it? When are they going to do it? Where's the bit that all the people, or the mums are going to be like, shield the child's eyes because there's a gayness and whatever. It was just like, ugh, I'm waiting for that moment to happen. And like, the film was fine. It was brilliant. I enjoyed it. Not sure if I absolutely adored it, because obviously my enjoyment of it was dampened seeing all this backlash it was getting. It was just like, can't you just let the kids enjoy their Disney film? Like, I know, like, some people made the argument, this film is about bestiality. Well, the film's not, like, about bestiality. It's about, like, loving someone for more than just their appearance, like, loving someone for them and all this stuff. That's, like, true love conquers all and all that beautiful stuff. The kids need a bit of optimism in this dreary world that we live in. There's so much bad stuff going on in the world, which I'm not going to talk about, because that's not really what we want to talk about in a film review or whatever, but there's so many bad things happening in the world. Can't you just let the children and other people in the world enjoy their little Disney film that is just, like, beautiful and it's handcrafted, it's just for your enjoyment? Just let them enjoy the film. Don't, like, bring up all this, like, doomsday and all this stuff. It's just a lovely Disney film. I personally enjoyed it. I mean, the cinema, when I went to see it, was packed full. People of all ages. There was guys, there was girls, there was, like, pensioners, there was little grannies enjoying the Disney film, singing along to the songs they knew. There was, like, little kids running about. There was girls with their boyfriends. There was girls with their girlfriends. I'm pretty sure there was a guy with his boyfriend or whatever. I'm pretty sure I saw. And, enjoying the popcorn. It's a film for everyone. It's a film for everyone. I know that obviously some people don't, like, there are, like, that very small fraction of people that don't actually like Disney. That is fine as well. There's other films for you to enjoy. I'm just, at the end of the day, I enjoyed this film. I wouldn't say that I'd rate it highly for, like, the films I saw this year. I haven't really seen many that I'd say I loved to pieces. Like, there's been, like, one of those ones where it's like, Logan. Yes, I totally adored Logan. High up on my list. Hated the Babadook. Babadook was very bad. Other films, I guess Split. I liked Split. Maybe not loved it. I put it, like, above, obviously, Babadook, maybe lower than Logan. But, yeah, this year has been a funny year for films. And in terms of film I'm going to see next week, which I will probably make a video about, because it's also something that I want to talk about, it's the new Power Rangers movie, which, back in the day, I wasn't, like, a hardcore Power Rangers fan. I enjoyed, like, a couple of things or whatever from it. But now I'm very curious, after seeing, again, some controversial headlines, whatever, basically the media spoiling something from the film in order to draw in more attention, and then obviously getting a little bit of backlash, but also trying to draw in more of that attention. There's things to discuss about that film as well, but I will reserve that discussion for next week when I've actually seen the film in the first place, and then we can discuss it and whatnot. So let me know, guys, for those who stuck around for the video, who's obviously seen the film or just wanted to hear me, have you seen the new Beauty and the Beast yet? What do you think about the changes they made, the additions they made? Was it a good retelling of the tale or whatnot? Or do you think they were faithful to the original story and whatnot? And did you have a favourite part of the film or, like, a least favourite part of the film? Because that's always, like, I love to hear what people think of, like, film and media and whatnot. So anyway, guys, thanks for watching. Be sure to check out my Patreon, by the way, because my Patreon is in the link down below. You can check that out to see all the different reward tiers you can get for being a patron of my content and whatnot. So until next time, guys, I will see you all later.